Okay, Movember, shave time.
Right, well, I'm here with Pete Jolly. He's on the camera. I've got some blokes in the background. We're up the bush, up Karabi, and we're at Alan Hill's place. And this is Movember 1, and this is the shave. And I suppose what the reason I do Movember each year is because I'm a counsellor, I'm a bloke in recovery, and an important part of our work has been helping blokes and just look after themselves, you know. And a lot of us up here have recovered from certain addictions and different things. And so I usually sport a mow all year to support November, but I'm actually shaving this thing off now. I don't want to cut my lip. Usually I'll just keep a mow, but I'm not this year. I'm going to take the whole thing off. It usually freaks my kids out because they think I look like Super Mario with my dungarees on. But the whole idea of why I'm in recovery and why I stay in recovery, I'm 30 years clean in a particular 12-step fellowship, but I've had to deal with other issues along the way. And I think even if you're part of a spiritual tradition, a church, or you have certain habits or things, just sometimes they're not enough, you know. We've been up here and we're all over 50, pretty well, a couple of younger guys. And last night, we honoured a 15-year-old man, which is one of our Alan Hill's son. And I won't talk much about that because I don't have his permission, but what I will say is that to be able to be part of older men who never got a lot of support, and to be able to then acknowledge a young man and be in his company. And I remember when I was 15 years old, all I wanted was to get someone to get me to get drugs and alcohol. I was working as a boilermaker, and I would get drunk after work with the men, and I thought that was being a man. And I would use drugs, and I thought that was being a man. And the fact of the matter was, I grew up in a house with a lot of mental illness. I was adopted at birth. My parents did the best with what they had. My mother was in and out of a mental institution. And it was a very painful, lonely life because there was no one to talk to about it. And there's a saying by a bloke called Robert Bly, and he says that the older men are needed to form the circles around younger men so they can make their glorious mistakes. And when we were there last night, stumbling our way to acknowledging this young man, and for any of you guys out there that follow John Eldridge and Morgan Snyder and Become a King, there's an initiation acknowledgement of masculinity about bestowing a knife upon someone. And in Australia, you have to be particular what we can bestow to each other, but last night he was gifted a Leatherman, which is a multi-tool, and it's just an acknowledgement about the need for men to be a generalist, to be able to still use their hands, because in this day and age of the internet and Dr. Google and everything, we've lost that ability. With our friend up here at the lovely bush setting we're at, Alan is probably one of the most resourceful guys with his hands I've ever met. And as a bloke that's grown up in the suburbs, I've really felt inadequate in his presence around that. Not that Al's ever judged me around that, but to be around him and to learn how you use your hands. We were talking last night. This is a pretty well a glorified bush shack, one of the best ones I've seen. But we built it out of water pipe. And I was a boilermaker, not a good one, but I did lend my skills to helping weld the pipe to the frames of this house. So last night, to be able to acknowledge a young man who is a beautiful young man, because he's grown up with a father who has not been a perfect parent, because none of us can be perfect, but one thing he has got is he's genuinely has worked hard to be a better man, and at times of trouble he learned to reach out for help. So through November, I'm going to make a video every day on some tool for recovery, and I'm going to post them up each night, and I'm going to I'm going to hopefully just bring to knowledge different things that can help you with anxiety, depression, any addictions, how to regulate yourself, and relationship skills. So I'm not perfect at it either. I still go to 12-step meetings, I still go to therapy, I still go to church, I have a relationship with God. But the thing that really keeps me safe is my relationships with other men. And I had to learn that by being in relationships with other men. So the guy on the camera, and it will be joining me. There's two things I'll announce. John Lee, the world-renowned author, is going to do a webinar for us on November 21 and talk about men and anger. Alexandra Katehakis is a world leader on healthy sexuality and sex addiction, and she's going to talk about sexual recovery and what's life look like after sex addiction. So I'll put all these announcements out on my Movember page, but here it is. I'm clean shaven for the first time in a long time, and with that, Movember 1, we start now.
You beauty.
There you go. Thanks, Pete.